Hello, everyone. On this podcast episode, I'm going to talk about greed. You know, while my computer is trying to unfreeze itself, my computer is frozen right now because I'm trying to open up a game file to edit the game, but the file itself, I created some sort of infinity loop or some infinite loop within the system, and the whole thing just freezes my computer. So because of the infinite loop that the game's in, like it just runs on infinitely. So it just runs around in circles infinitely. The computer freezes. So while the computer, figures out how to unfreeze itself, I'm going to talk about greed. So many people don't know what greed is. They think someone who's greedy is someone who's money hungry. And that's true. But the greed itself is not just about money. Greed is just a state of being. And while in that state of being, you will never be happy. That's why it is called a sin. It's because greed does not bring happiness. And here are different ways that people can be greedy. People can be greedy for money. If they don't have enough money, they're not happy. That's what greed does. You know, it puts you in a state where you don't feel like you'll be satisfied with life unless you have what you want. If you don't get what you want, you'll never be happy. Right? That's greed. If you don't get what you want, you will never be satisfied. You'll never be satisfied until you get what you want. You know, there are many people who are greedy for money. There are many people who are greedy for women. All they want to do is sleep around. You know, they treat sleeping with women as a game. They treat women as toys. And that's what you need to be careful of. There are many ways that greed shows itself. Some people are greedy for women. Some people are greedy for marriage. You know, they need to marry, just being married to one person isn't enough. They have to be married to many people. Just being married to one woman isn't enough. They need many women. Just being married to one man isn't enough. They need many, men. Just sleeping with one man isn't enough. They needs to sleep with as many women, as many men as possible. If you treat people like toys, you're gonna get punished. You get punished for treating human beings like toys. If you go sleeping around thinking that the more people you sleep with, the more valuable you are, you're not getting anywhere. You get punished for your greed. It is greedy to think that the more things you have, the better you'll be. The more money you have, the better you'll be. The more resources you have, the better your life is. The happier you'll be. There's no happiness with greed, you know. And if you treat people like toys, you have to know women are still children of God as well. So you're someone who likes sleeping around. Just not if you get punished with with an STD, if you get punished with an incurable disease, you did that. It's your fault. The world has an automatic reward and punishment system. God put an automatic reward and punishment system in place in this world. It is automatic. You stick your hands in an open flame, you automatically get burned. It's automatic. God doesn't have to step in to punish you. The world itself will punish you automatically. Just like with greed. If you become a greedy person, right? Just that act alone of being greedy removes happiness from your life. You can either be happy or be greedy. There are many people who are greedy for planets. They don't think Earth is enough. They want many planets. Many, many planets. They want to own a lot of planets. want to conquer the world. The world belongs to them. The planets belongs to them. But you have to be very, very careful. Because the moment you start going towards the route of more is better, you need more things, the more happiness is removed from your life. And it's an automatic process. Greed puts you in a state of wanting, a state of greed, a state of need. A greedy person is like someone who's running a race that has no finish line. When you run a race that has no finish line, how can you be happy? No matter how much you run, no matter how fast you run, no matter how long you run, you never get to the end. You never accomplish your goals because your goals never end. When you never accomplish your goals, what's the point of goals? How can you be happy when no matter what you do, you'll never get to the finish line? No matter how fast you run, you never get to the end. That's how greed works. People who are greedy never get to the end because they sleep with one person, right? And then they realize this is not enough. I need more. Then they sleep with someone else. Then even after sleeping with 100 people, they'll still realize it's not enough. They still haven't gotten to the finish line yet. They still haven't arrived. They're more miserable now than they were before. Because you don't get rewarded for sin. You don't. So you never be happy. You just won't. So the more greedy you are, the more miserable your life becomes. So after all the people you sleep with, you still end up realizing that it's still not enough. There's still more people in this world to sleep with. There are billions of people left. Even after all you've done, you still haven't moved a single inch from the finish line. From the starting point. Just like a racer, no matter how much you run, you never get to the finish line. So why run to begin with? If a race has no finish line, what's the point of the race? You have to ask yourself that question. If you're a greedy person, you have to ask yourself the question, what's the point of a race that has no end? What's the point of chasing money endlessly? Many people chase money endlessly thinking that it'll make them happier. Yet the more money they chase after, the more miserable they become. Where's the happiness? It's nowhere to be found. People chase after women or men. They go from relationship to relationship. Even after going from, relationship to relationships and gotten into over 10 or 20 relationships, they still end up realizing it is still not enough. They still haven't gotten to the finish line yet. It's a race that never ends. Greed is a race that never ends. You have to be careful. This world isn't about many. It isn't about, size. More is not better. Less is not better. It's not about size. Being tall has no meaning. Being short has no meaning either. It's not about size. Being here has doesn't change anything. And being over there doesn't change anything either. It's not about location, size, or anything. This world is about being satisfied with what God has given you. If you can't be satisfied with what God has given you, you will never be satisfied. If you can't be happy with what God has given you in life, you will never be happy in life. That's just a fact. If you chase after things, you think more things is better. There are poor people right now who think if they get richer and richer, the more money they have, the happier their lives will be. That's not how happiness works. Happiness is an emotion that's always under the control of God. And money is just money. There's a reason why they're two different words. There's a reason why they have two different meanings. Happiness is happiness. Money is money. They're not related in any way. Stop pretending they are, because you end up running around in circles, just like that racer, just like that runner who has no finish line. If you keep running around in circles thinking that, the more money you have, at some point in time you become happy. You're playing games with your own mind. You're playing a losing game, because there's no point in running a race that you can't win. There's no point in running a race without a finish line. There's no end to money. There will always be people who are poorer than you and people who are richer than you. There always will be. Even the richest person in the world isn't as rich as you think they are. They're only rich publicly. There are people in this world that are richer than them, that have money, private money, that's far more than what they have. Because they don't show it off does not mean they're not richer. There'll always be people richer than you and people poorer than you. Just how this world works. There'll always be things richer than you and things poorer than you. Even if you become the richest person in the world, who cares? There are people in this world right now, there are people who can own planets. Nobody in this planet, on Earth, owns a planet. The world is filled with planets, right? Yet nobody in this world owns one. The Earth is a shared property. Everybody owns planet Earth. Yet the world is filled with planets, right? The richest person in this world doesn't even own a single planet. The person isn't rich, is poor. When everybody's poor, nobody will appear poor. That's the problem. Because everyone on planet Earth is poor. That's why people start thinking they're rich. If they were so rich, they'll own galaxies. They don't own galaxies. They own measly little, ounces of gold, silver, and some fiat. They don't own galaxies. They don't own solar systems. They're too poor to own solar systems. They're too poor to own galaxies. In this world, there will always be someone poorer than you and someone richer than you. Just because you think you're rich does not actually mean you're rich. Just because you think you're poor does not mean you're poor. Greed will not get you far in this world. That's why the Bible states that the wages of sin is death, and greed is a sin. Because the more greedy you are, the farther and farther away your finish line, gets. You never get to the end. If you think happiness will come to you while being greedy, you're wrong. If you can't be satisfied with what God has given you, you will never be satisfied in life. If you can't be happy with what God has given you, you will never be happy in life. If you're a rich person, right? If you think being poor will somehow make you happier, you're wrong. If you're a poor person who thinks being rich will make you happier, you're also wrong as well. It's not about being poor or rich. It's not about being tall or short. It's not about being large or small. It's not about being here or there. It's about being satisfied with what God has given you. It's about contentment. If you can't be content with what you have, you will never be content. It's just a fact. If you can't be satisfied with what you have, you will never be satisfied. If you can't be happy with what you have right now, you will never be happy. It's just a fact. That's why greed is a sin. Greed makes you miserable. Greed makes you unhappy. And the more greedy you are, the more unhappy you become. The problem isn't money. The problem is you. The problem is greed. The problem isn't how many people you slept with. The problem is you. The problem is greed. The problem isn't how many planets you own. The problem is you. The problem is greed. If you're miserable, it's not because you don't have enough money. It's because you think you need money to be happy. If you're miserable, it's not because you don't have enough people you slept with. You don't need to sleep with many people to be happy. There are people right now who haven't slept with a single person, and they're happier than you. Their parents love them. Their friends love them. Their family members, everyone loves them. They live a happy life. Everyone cares about them. They're content. God cares about them. Doors open for them. They live a life of bliss and harmony. And they haven't slept with a single person their entire lives. Why are they different from you? Why are you miserable? After all those people you've slept with, you're still here miserable. Yet they're not. There are many rich folks out there living happy lives. Why are you so different? Why are you different from them? The problem isn't them. The problem is you. It's not about wealth. Wealthy people are happy. There are also wealthy people who are miserable. The difference between the happy, wealthy ones and the miserable ones is that the happy ones are content with what God has given them, while the miserable ones are always jealous. They're always greedy. They want more. The amount of money that they have is not enough. It's just not. Because they feel and believe they don't have enough money. They can never be happy. Stop being jealous of what other people have. They're not you. Whether you're rich or poor, you will still be yourself. Whether you're here or there, you will still be you. Whether you slept with many women or zero, you will still be you. You will still be the same old person. If you don't like yourself now, you won't like yourself when you're rich. If you're a rich person, if you don't like yourself now, you won't like yourself when you're poor either. It's not about being rich or poor. If you don't like yourself over here, you won't like yourself over there. You just won't. If you don't like yourself when you're small, you won't like yourself when you're large. There are many people who take, who get surgeries to make themselves taller, only to regret it later because they still don't like themselves. That's why greed is a sin. If you're not satisfied with what you have, you will never be satisfied. If you're not satisfied with yourself, you will never be satisfied. God gave you your life. Be satisfied with what God has given you. God gave you your life. Be satisfied with that. Because if you're not satisfied with your life, you will never be satisfied. You just won't. That's why it's called a sin. It'll make you miserable. Happiness does not exist in hell. It only exists in heaven. Greed exists in hell. So the closer you go towards the gates of hell, the more miserable you become. The more greedy you are, the closer you get towards the gates of hell. And if you get too close to hell, you'll be burned by hellfire. You'll be burned by hellfire. If you get too greedy, you become very, very suicidal, very, very depressed. You become too depressed, It's only a matter of time before you kill yourself. It's only a matter of time before you get burned by hellfire. It's only a matter of time. You have to be careful. The Bible warns you not to be greedy, not because God is controlling. It is warning you because these are just the rules of the world. The world follows an automatic reward and punishment system. It's hidden, but it's still there. As long as you run a race that has no finish line, you will be miserable. No one wants to run a race that has no finish line because they'll never know when to stop. Greed is a race that has no finish line. You will always be miserable chasing after something. If you can't be satisfied with what you have, you will never be satisfied. It's fine to have dreams, but you need to know that even when you don't accomplish your dreams, you're still happy because you're you. You're still satisfied because you're still a child of God. You have to understand that it's not about money. It's not about size. It's not about quantity. Your heart is small. Your heart is tiny. Yet, your heart does the job best. Although your heart, there are many animals in this world that have multiple hearts. Yes, the animals in this world that have multiple hearts. The animals in this world that have hearts as large as a basketball. Large hearts. But just because there are animals in this world that have large hearts does not mean your heart is worthless. What God has given you is still enough. The heart that you have works best for you. That tiny little heart of yours is all you need. It doesn't need to be larger. You don't need many more hearts. Just that tiny little heart is the best heart for you. Is the good heart for you. You have to value what you have. Although Earth is very tiny, Earth does the job best. Although there are millions and billions of planets out there, who cares? Earth is still the best planet out there. Because Earth is what you have. You have to be satisfied with what you have. If you can't be satisfied with what you have, you will never be happy in life. You just won't. If you can't be satisfied with what God has given you, you will never be satisfied. And God has given you planet Earth. Enjoy the planet. God has given you your heart. Enjoy your heart. God has given you your life. Enjoy your life. You have to be satisfied with what you have. The only reason why some rich folks are happy is because they're satisfied with what they have. The only reason why some poor folks are happy is because they're satisfied with what they have. The only reason why some middle class people are happy is because they're satisfied with what they have. The Bible doesn't force you to get into relationships. The Bible clearly states it's fine if you're in a relationship and it's fine if you're not. It is okay. No one is forcing you to get into a relationship. No one is forcing you to become a billionaire. No one is forcing you to conquer other planets. Nobody. God isn't forcing you to do anything. God doesn't force you to do anything. Only the devil does. God does not force his children to do anything. You always have free will to do whatever you want. The free will that God has given you. You also have the free will to be happy with what you have and to not be. You have the free will to go to heaven or to go to hell. It is always your choice. If you chase after greed, if you let greed consume you, You will run a race that has no finish line. You'll work and work and work. And after a while, you realize, after all that work, you've accomplished absolutely nothing with your life. After all that running, you're still at the very beginning. You went around in circles and got nowhere. You ran around in circles and ended up back where you began, miserable. Just as miserable as before. After all you've done, you're still just as miserable as before. This is what greed does to you. It makes you miserable. It makes you depressed. It makes you suicidal. Because there's no happiness in hell. There's no happiness in a world of misery. Hell is a world of misery. And the wages of sin is death. You go towards hell. You're going towards the gates of death. The closer you get towards hell, the closer you are to death itself. The reward for all your greed will be suicidal depression. That's all you gain. After all that work, chasing after money. After all that work, chasing after men or women. Chasing after relationships. All you'll gain from all that effort is suicidal depression. Because the wages of sin is death. And the closer you are towards the gates of hell, the closer you are towards death. The closer you are towards hellfire. If you get too close to the gates of hell, you'll be burned. If you put your hands in an open flame, you will be burned. It's an automatic system. If you chase after things without being happy with what you have, you'll run away from happiness. You run towards depression instead. That's what you're doing. You're running towards more misery. If you're a rich person, be happy that you're rich. If you're a poor person, be happy that you're poor. If you're neither rich or poor, be happy that you're neither rich or poor. If you live over here, be happy that you live over here. If you're living over there, be happy that you're living over there. If you're short, be happy that you're short. If you're tall, be happy that you're tall. If you're small, be happy that you're small. If you're large, be happy that you're large. This is a world where you get rewarded for being content, for being satisfied with what you have. You get punished for not. You get punished for not being satisfied with what you have. If you can't be satisfied with what you have, you can't be satisfied. If you can't be happy with what you have, you can't be happy. It's that simple. So that's it for today's podcast episode. I pray for everyone's safety and understanding. Amen.